Hi, I'm Luna, and in today's video we're installing Void Linux on this laptop. So since the last video with FreeBSD didn't go well, I'm gonna go ahead and install Void Linux since I haven't done that before. And I have experience with this one, so I shouldn't have issues installing it. I don't have any documentation with me though, because the only device that I have is my phone, which is recording the device, and yeah, it is taking a long time to boot, way longer than on my main PC. But here we go. We can actually log in. And the benefit of Void is they can run Void installer. And there we go, we've got a UI installer. And this should make it very easy. So we need to set the keyboard. I'm just going to use a standard US keyboard. For network, let's use the ENP2F S0F0. This is basically, what is this? As you can see, it's already saying it's working. For the source, we're going to be using network. It's gonna install a base image, but we don't care. We want the latest and greatest packages. For the mirror, I'm just gonna use a Czech one because using the, so if we go to Europe and we go to, I believe I've used the Germany one, this one, or something like that. It was way faster. Tier 1 means it's fast, it's like faster updates, basically. Now it should make it faster to install. For our host name, let's use old laptop, obviously. Let's set the root password. You'll never guess my root password. We're going to use user for the username. So we are going to add it to wheel video and some other things here. Okay, keep the default, that's it to wheel, which is the main thing. We want admin perms. So the bootloader is the 32 gigabyte. Yes, we want to use the GPU one. So partitioning disk is very easy. We're just going to use CF disk. It tells us that we need to create an EFI system partition or BIOS boot partition. In this case, we have a MBR, or we're going to be using a GPT partition, and we have a BIOS because this thing does not support EFI. For this, I'm going to create 4 partitions. So let's delete everything here. So that it was free. We're going to have to create a 1 megabyte partition called BIOS boot. So BIOS boot, create a 1 gigabyte partition for the boot. That's EFI system. I don't know what was the second partition. I think it was EFI system. I marked it as EFI system, but we're going to call it Linux file system, and then this is going to be the root partition. Before the root partition, I'm going to insert 8 gigabytes of swap. We can delete it if we need a bigger partition for boot, but we're not going to need that. And the rest of the drive is going to be the root file system. So hopefully I partitioned the correct. Select the partition to edit. So for the file systems, this is going to be an empty partition. The second one is going to be a vFile partition on /boot. This is going to be swap. This fourth partition is going to be ext4 for root, and that's it. And let's install. So now we gotta wait for it to install, and it will start downloading and installing packages. And as you can see, that German mirror is actually really quick, even if this is a slow NIC. As you can see, we're getting 19 megabytes a second, which is the top speed of my network, which is nice, because we're gonna be in Void Linux in no time. I'm gonna install KDE Plasma the same way I did it on the other computers, because it's very similar to FreeBSD installation. We're gonna start DHCP-CD so we can actually get network. I will keep all of these, I think, default. We don't need Wi-Fi, so I'm just gonna keep it like that. Let's reboot the system, and let's see if it actually boots. So I'm gonna hope for the best. Oh shit, it worked! I just fucking brought it and it works. Look at that. And we're in Void Linux. So all I have to do is just log in with my super secure password. And now we can actually just do sudo bps install. I think let's call KDE Plasma or KDE. Oh right, there it is. So now we're gonna download KDE Plasma. Then we're gonna install SDDM. We're also gonna install Xorg, which is going to take forever because I know how this works. We're also going to go ahead and install Network Manager so we can manage networks from within the system. Now that Plasma has been installed, let's also install Xorg for starting SDDM for Simple Display Manager. We're going to install these two because we're going to need them. Now, Xorg is also going to download a shit ton of fonts, which will take a while to install, because for every single font I will update the cache. And this laptop is even slower at that, so we're going to be here for a while. Alright, now that it's installed, we're going to go ahead and also install, I don't know what the network manager package is called, I think it's like case sensitive or something. Yes, it is. So, we need to enable a few services, so dbus needs to be enabled, SDDM needs to be enabled. We'll also disable DHCP-CD, and we'll insert ln-s network manager into /versus service. And that should be it. If we fuck up anything, we can just recover that. However, I think I've linked everything I needed for this to work. And dbus is mainly required for Network Manager and SDDM to work. And Intel drivers should be installed by default, so we should be fine. Okay, I see that I see my window here, Plasma Wayland, and let's log in with my super secret password. And we're on the desktop, and it's way smoother than what I experienced on FreeBSD. We're on Void Linux, and as you can see, it's nice and smooth, everything responds quickly. Look at that. So I'm gonna set it to dark mode. Look at how fast it is. It's using actual GPU power for this. So as you can see, Void Linux, KDE Plasma 6.6.3. Not up to date, but that's fine. I don't need to even have 6.7 on my main computer, so we're fine here. Wayland as the graphics platform, which is very nice. And the reason I added 8 GB of swap is for one of the tests I'm gonna need more than 1.7 GB of RAM. So let's see, I don't even have a terminal, so we're gonna have to go ahead and switch to TTY2 and then install that. That's an oopsie. I need Dolphin and console. I think I've installed the minimal version of KDE Plasma. So I need to install the basic applications, and I should be able to just exit out of here and then go back to, I think, TTY7 or something. Okay, that's TTY7 is this. TTY8 is KDE Plasma. Okay, we're back. We also have console now. So let us, first of all, fast fetch or high fetch. See if high fetch is installed in the libraries. So there is no high fetch package. We're just gonna install fast fetch then, and let's run fast fetch. All right, here's your fast fetch of all years. This is the EasyNote TE11HC laptop. I actually kind of want to see if I can just use pip to install high fetch, because I know it's possible. I need to install Python 3 pip. Let's try that again, but with the Python 3 pip compiled or installed. Okay, so this environment is external managed, so what we're gonna do is just create a virtual environment inside of the home folder and then just install high fetch into there and then try and run it. So let's make a dir for high fetch. We're gonna install another thing, Python 3 VNV, or we can just try python-mvnv.vnv, which works. This will create a virtual environment which we're gonna use to install high fetch in. Bin pip install high fetch. This will work fine, and it's building a lot of it's installing packages. It's slow as fuck. All right, and now we can use VNV bin high fetch, and it is not thinking it's Pride Month. Let's just use detected high fetch. That's nice. Fast fetch. Happy Pride Month, and here's your high fetch. So that's cool. So we're not using any of the swap, and we're only using 951 megabytes of memory out of 1.6 gigabytes, which is very nice. I expected more usage. I take it. So I think the next task is going to be trying to run Nikon on this thing, and I have hopes that it will actually run, because all we have to do is install git and uv. Then we just git clone the project into the projects folder. The git clone https git.mlb-luna/akabot-git or uvsync. This will download the packages and build them, and we'll also need to install, was it called pgsql or something like that. I had to install, or we can just install Postgres entirely. So by installing PostgreSQL, that will fix that. We don't need to actually, we only need the one singular binary. It's called pgconfig. If it's in here, that should allow us to uvsync, or not, because I don't know what the fucking, I need to install bash completion and restart the bash terminal. Let's see, I don't know what the query command was. I need pgconfig. Yeah, fucking forgot how to use the system. Let's see if I can install something like a Firefox or LibreWolf, so we can find the package and install it. Alright, I'll just go ahead and search for, oh my god, I forgot how Google sucked. To get pgconfig, install the PostgreSQL development package. Okay, so I installed the wrong package. Okay, so simple. We just need to sudo xbps install PostgreSQL devel. Postgres devel, I don't know what the package is named, because it's SQL. Okay, I think I shouldn't read the fucking AI summary shit thing when trying to get documentation. It tells us to install, we can also install fucking psycopg2 binary, but that's not what I want to do. This should build, I've got it built in last time we used Void. I got, it's called libpq-dev. There's only libpqxx, and I'll install that one. I don't know if that's the right one. I don't think it is, but we're gonna try and do it anyway. Okay, why is it so complicated to install one singular package that's for a Debian system? Bro, install PostgreSQL, that doesn't help us. The scroll wheel sucks. I cannot scroll at all. Why is the scrolling so bad on this thing? Can I not scroll by the side of it? Oh yeah, also they suggest installing python-dev. I don't know if that's what I did here. Is there little in the documentation about this? Let me see how I did this in my configuration files. Because I know I've looked it up and I found the information about it, but I did not. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and explore. Go into .files and kde void, and then I have programs.sh. And then somewhere in here, it should install the required libraries for it to actually work. Let's see what I did here. I built gram, high-fetch, and other things. I hate the scroll wheel because it still scrolls up instead of down. This is interesting. Why am I installing all these packages manually? I don't even know how I did this. The thing is, I can't go ahead and look this up on any other device than this. So we're gonna use xlocate. Hopefully this is gonna find the package in some package. PostgreSQL 17 -libs-devel. PostgreSQL 18 libs-devel. Yeah, I can have to install 17. Can I install that? Okay. Please work. And note that didn't help because something failed. Error command x86-64 unknown Linux GNU GCC failed. No such file or directory. Alright, so we're gonna try and install a compiler. It's called base-devel, just like in Arch Linux. We're gonna install more shit to hopefully get this working. Alright, we finally installed the packages. This only took 30 minutes. However, we actually did it. That's the main thing. If I run main.py, it will try and load everything and then crash because it doesn't have the bot token. Let's test it. Alright, we're getting warnings and it failed because it cannot find nekona.log, and we're gonna have to make the logs file. Okay, so it's failing because I don't have anything set up, but it did print the message for starting up, so that's good. Great to see that everything seems to be working. Except it crashed on line 25. We're gonna see if I can actually install. It would be crazy if PyCharm was in the repositories. I'm gonna install NeoVim. Just for the funds of it, I'm gonna install NeoVim so we can see line 25. It's number 25. Crashed on this line. Usually it's not gonna crash here, but I don't have anything set up. So this would return 0 here. Possibly down here it would also crash at the bottom of the file. So if you sign bot.run or something, down here it's gonna crash on this line, on line 87, because we don't have a bot token set up. But the main thing, it works. So next I wanted to also get PyCharm working. Now PyCharm is gonna be pretty easy. All I have to do, I guess, is to just download the community version of PyCharm and then just run it. However, this is gonna take forever, and I know I had it working because I used it on my main computer. Alright, we're gonna download this for Linux. Let's give it a few seconds before it redirects me twice. But it is downloading. All I have to do is just wait for this to download and extract it, and it should work fine. Alrighty, let's extract it and let's see if we can run it, which should be fine. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and enter the PyCharm folder and run PyCharm. There should be a file called pycharm.sh, and now wait for it to load, which will take a real long time, but hopefully we're just seeing plugins being loaded. We'll see PyCharm start up and show up on the main screen, and then we're going to be able to open the Nekona project and hopefully use it. Alright, here's the user agreement. I'm gonna read this. This is going to be extremely slow because this computer was not built for running this massive of a program. So we're going to be running on swap mainly. We're seeing lots of disk activity trying to load this. I think it's trying to load a web browser or something. So the fully fledged IDE works. Let's just close this and let's see if we can enter the project. So it's loading Akabot, the project, and if it renders the readme, it will fine basically. However, we're out of memory already because the swap is going insane on this laptop. Holy shit, it actually works. So we have the Nekona readme file, and it loaded our cogs on the left. So that's nice. We can actually view like some of the source code here. Actually, let's try and open it like a main py file. You still don't have a set interpreter, but I think it will detect the VNV we have created once it loads up. Oh, it detected the VNV already. I see it in the right bottom corner. UV Akabot, and I think the reason why the bot didn't start in the first place was that I use Python 3.12 in development, but I accidentally installed Python 3.14 here, which is not supported by the Python library that I'm using, which supports latest 3.13, I believe, because 3.14 was released afterwards the release of after the Python library released an update. It is slowly but surely analyzing the project, and I believe we should be able to code on this project in a while. However, I don't think I'm gonna code it on here on the video because we're gonna be here forever if it analyzes. Wait, it's actually almost done. I'm probably out of memory, so if we check here, we are using 3 GB of swap right now. So we're bottlenecked by the performance of the RAM, or like the memory being out of our memory basically, and it's consuming way too much for it to actually work. So you can see CPU direct, we're using 80% direct CPU basically. So what I'm gonna do is basically just stop this and mark this a success, because we're not gonna be waiting here for the Python interpreter to actually work. I would just close it out and hope that it closes eventually, because this is gonna take a while. We can't even multitask properly because this thing only has 2 cores. Yes, exit. Alright, we're out of there. That was pretty okay actually. So we've managed to actually like load up and almost code on a project, and in terms of web browsing I should be able to just do that normally. Like this works fine. We can visit PeerTube or something and watch the latest video, which works fine. It is lagging though. That's probably because of peer-to-peer stuff. However, the video seems to be working completely fine on PeerTube, which is very nice to see, because this makes the laptop usable pretty much. So I think I'm gonna end the video here. I don't know what else to show here on this laptop. I hope you enjoyed this one, and goodbye.